Welcome to Knoxville Raceway Inside Line with your host Eric Arnold, presented by Lucas Oil, FVP, Casey's General Store, Speed Sport, Arnold Motor Supply, RacingJunk.com, and Pella Motors.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line. I am your host, Eric Arnold, Knoxville Raceway track historian. Thank you for joining us tonight here on KBOE 104.9 in Oskaloosa, your station for racing. Each Thursday night, we're here talking sprint cars from the sprint car capital of the world, Knoxville Raceway. Coming up a little bit later in the show, we are going to have 305 sprint car driver Devin Kline from Knoxville on the line with us. Devin's won 4 305 sprint car features within the past year, 2 last year and 2 already this season. He's second in points, so thought it would be good to have Devin come on the show. This past Saturday night at the Knoxville Raceway, racing action, we got time trials in, a few heat races. Mother Nature not cooperating, even though there was a 0% chance of rain. It didn't rain within a couple miles east, west, north, south of the racetrack, but for some reason we were getting some drizzle. Had a delay of about half an hour, and then we got back to racing, and then another delay, and after close to about an hour of a steady drizzle that just would not go away. It was very pesky. We had to call the racing program for the night. So only time trials completed and the 305 heat races were completed. So rain checks are good for this week or any $15 show the rest of the season. So hang on to those rain checks if you had one of those this past Saturday. We did have some very interesting time trials, though, on Saturday night. With the World of Outlaws getting rained out in Michigan very early Saturday morning, 4 of those teams decided to make about the 7-hour drive from there to Knoxville to get some testing in before the World of Outlaws come here in a couple of weeks, and then gearing up for the Knoxville Nationals. So Shane Stewart, Kerry Madsen, Brad Sweet, and World of Outlaw champion Darren Pittman, all 4 of those teams were able to make it to Knoxville on time on Saturday night. So it's great to have those guys with us. Unfortunately for them, they got rained out twice in the same day. So pretty crazy turn of events for those guys. But in qualifying, boy, what a show did these cars put on with the weather conditions and the racetrack conditions being in perfect condition, be able to see how fast sprint cars can just really go. Not very often do we see lap times under that 14.7 mark. And on this night, there were several cars that got under that number. Not since 2006 did we really see a night where we had cars going that fast when we saw track records being broken. So with it being about 60 degrees, the humidity was a little high at 88% on Saturday night. Typically, high humidity means the engines don't run quite as well. But on this night, things stacked up quite well. So Shane Stewart went out and set quick time with a lap of 14.560. It's an average speed of about 124 miles an hour. That lap is now 4th best all time at the Knoxville Raceway. So very fast track conditions. Some other guys that laid down some really fast times were Davey Heskin. He ran a 14.573. Daniel Lasowski, Josh Schneiderman, Kerry Madsen, Linton Jeffrey, Terry McCarl, Darren Pittman, all of those guys cracking the top 25 list of all-time laps, qualifying laps in time trials at the Knoxville Raceway. So still a little bit of history being made this past Saturday night there. It was great just to see the raw speed out of these cars that we don't get to see so many other nights when we have warmer weather. The track dries out a little quicker. And, for guys like Daniel Lasowski and Terry McCarl, who have both been racing there for over 30 years, 156 feature wins between those two guys, they come out and lay down their personal best lap times ever at the Knoxville Raceway. That's really saying something. So really impressive to see how fast those guys were going on Saturday night. In the 305 class, setting quick time was Trevor Smith. He put down a lap of 16.894, just missing the track record for the 305s. And then Justin Henderson went out and ran a lap of 15.563 for quick time in the 360 class, and that was just shy of Joe Beaver's record of 15.520. So really fast times in all 3 classes there. So with the cooler temperatures, that's kind of the secret, getting some really fast laps at the Knoxville Raceway. Earlier in the day at noon, there was the Knoxville Sprint Car Hall of Fame 26th Annual Induction Banquet, where we saw Mike Arthur, Bruce Ellis, Don Kreitz Jr., Roger Beck, Danny Smith, and Gil Sonner all inducted into the Hall of Fame. Great to have Bruce Ellis there, a longtime announcer, PR director, and writer for different publications. I was able to sit at his table. He invited me to sit with him, and we exchanged some really good stories. It was an honor to be there and help Bruce celebrate that day. Just a kind of a culmination and a validation of all of his body of work over the last 30, 40 years, what he's given to sprint car racing. Donnie Kreitz Jr., also from Pennsylvania, a very accomplished driver. Danny Smith, accomplished racer. I think he's entered the Knoxville Nationals 37, 38 times, something like that. I think the only driver to enter more Nationals than him is Sammy Swindell, looking back at my records. But Danny is actually still an active driver. He is originally from Indiana, and now he resides in Ohio, and he competes full-time with the All-Star Circuit of Champions series that is primarily around Ohio, and they had a race Saturday night. So his only problem was he wanted to come to the induction banquet, but still, finish his obligations with the All-Stars and compete that night. The owner of the All-Star Circuit of Champions is Tony Stewart. Tony said no problem. He gives Danny Smith his private jet, flies him from Wooster, Ohio, to Knoxville, Iowa. He comes to the banquet, gets there early on Saturday morning, goes to the banquet, flies back out, is still able to race in Ohio on Saturday night. So very nice gesture by Tony Stewart to do that. It's also great to see Gil Sonner, longtime car owner. This will be his 50th Knoxville Nationals coming up here in August as a car owner to enter a car into that event, which will be a record. He already owns the record at 49. Longtime car owner and mechanic. He's been very successful, not just at Knoxville Raceway, but around the country as well, winning events like the King's Royal with Johnny Herrera as his driver, and he's had, I think they said, a little over 50 different drivers in his car over this span, so roughly one a year, and a lot of those years he probably had 3 or 4 different drivers, so a lot of good stories. And typically Gilly's a really quiet guy, and he probably talked for 10 or 15 minutes during his acceptance speech, and as Dave Argerbright was interviewing him there as he was being inducted, so it was really cool to see Gilly and that side of him that a lot of us in the sport don't get to see very often. So it was still a good day celebrating the new inductees of the Sprint Car Hall of Fame and seeing some close to record track times. Hopefully this next Saturday night, Mother Nature will be a little nicer to us. This coming Saturday night at the Knoxville Raceway is Slideways Karting Center night, so feel free to stop out to the Slideways Karting Center just north of Knoxville there on Highway 14 before or after the races. And it's also Little League night this Saturday, so all players and coaches feel free to wear your jersey and you will get in for free. Little League coaches and players free this Saturday night. With that, we'll go to our first break. We'll bring on Devin Kline on the phone when we come back. You're listening to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line on KBOE. Thanks for listening to the Knoxville Podcast. This segment is brought to you by Arnold Motor Supply. Visit an Arnold Motor Supply store near you for the highest quality auto parts and tools for all makes and models on the road. Visit arnoldmotorsupply.com. Welcome back to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line. Joining us on the Lucas Oil Hotline tonight is 305 driver Devin Kline from Knoxville. And Devin, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Eric, for having me on.
So let's talk about what has been going on here the last couple of years since you started racing sprint cars. Are you aware that you have won 4 out of the last 5 features you've driven in?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy to sit back and think about, but that is on my mind, and I'm just very fortunate to been able to have the success that I have there at Knoxville.
You started out driving a sprint car for the first time in 2014 at the beginning of the year there, and you guys struggled with engine problems. What was all of that about, I guess?
Well, some of it is just freak accidents. The first night that we blew up, my oil pump, an ear off the oil pump broke, so it was only oiling every other time. And then by the time I was able to look down at my gauges, we got her shut down, but it had done the damage. And then we got her put back together, and we went out the next night and qualified 5th quick, started 5th in my heat, was running 3rd, and had a camshaft broke. So just some bad luck to start off, but things definitely turned around for us.
So what happened from, you come back after you take a few weeks off with the engine, and then all of a sudden things are clicking, you're just fast right out of the gate. I think you finished 6th one night, and then you won a couple in a row at the end of the season there.
Yeah, I was able to come back after we got the motor problems figured out, come back, and we started 9th, and I was up to 5th at one point, and then ended up finishing 6th my first night out, and it just gave me the confidence. I thought, man, I think I really got a shot at this. Able to have that little bit of success, first night racing, and then Larry Ball Jr. ran the car won the championship there in 2013, and just really figured out a great setup for the 305 and what all you need to do to get all the speed you can out of the 305, having it not quite have the horsepower as the 360, and it really made it easy. Driving these things aren't easy, but it made it easier on me that I had the car, I had the motor. I just needed to figure it out, and with what he had done and the package he threw together, it worked, and we came out swinging and won a couple races there in a row.
So you're driving the same car that Larry was driving previously before that, right?
Same motor, different car.
Okay.
It's same brand, same components, just not the exact same car.
Okay. So you've been working on their car for a few years as a pit crew member, is that right?
Yeah, Jamie started racing in 2010, sprint cars at Knoxville, and I worked in the shop, at the track. I worked on those cars, and I really think that benefited me. From 2010 to the end of the 2013 season, I was really able to learn a lot by working on these things, not only at the track, but in the shop. They'd come in and say the car's feeling like this, we need to do this, or the car was doing this, so I had to do this to compensate. I felt like I took a lot of those things in, and it really helped me progress as a driver when I was able to get a chance in the seat.
How long have you and Jamie known each other and been friends? Because I know you're about the same age, but I'm guessing there's some background there.
Yeah, it started as I used to work for a light company, and we put up lights at English Creek Speedway, and that's when I decided that I'd like to start racing after going out there and seeing everything out there. And my boss at the time used to race go-karts back in the day with Larry, and he said, Larry and Jamie were racing the karts at the time and really knew they had their stuff figured out, and they were fast. So he got me hooked up with them, and that was in beginning of 2008, and that's how we became friends, and been friends ever since.
So after 2008, after you kind of meet with those guys, I think that's about the time frame you started racing at the English Creek Speedway. Is that right?
Yep. I went over to their shop for the first time in the spring of 2008, and I started racing that spring. Was my first year in outlaw dirt carts, and ended up third in points and rookie in the year in the Open 500 class.
So how many features did you win at English Creek in the dirt carts?
Actually, that's kind of a funny story for, I really wasn't that great at the outlaw dirt carts. I raced for 2 years, and I won one feature. And a lot of people questioned me, well, why do you want to race a sprint car? And it was just one of those things that I don't really know, but I wanted to, and it's worked out.
Yeah, I'd say it's worked out pretty good so far for you. Is there something about the feel of the sprint car compared to the dirt carts that just suits your driving style better, you think?
I wish I knew that answer. Me, my family, my friends, we've all been trying to figure that out. Don't know if it's being on suspension or what exactly it is, but there's just something about it, and I won't argue with it.
I know you used to work for Musco Lighting, but I think you work somewhere else now, right?
Yeah, I actually work for Greenland Homes out of Des Moines. Actually, the owner is Corey Cox, who races in the 305 division as well.
Okay, well, I didn't know that. How did you and Corey become friends or acquainted then?
Actually, 2014 was both our rookie years, and we both were nervous and didn't know anything what to expect, and I just ended up going over to his pit the first night. We ended up talking and just became good friends ever since, and he's done quite a lot for me, and I really appreciate it.
Do you have any experience racing sprint cars on video games like World of Outlaw PS2 or anything like that?
Plenty of experience there. You could say almost an outlaw status racing there with a lot of late nights spent on that World of Outlaws PS2 game 2002.
Is there anything there though that translates at all to actually driving a sprint car?
I wish I could say there was, but no, other than just trying to get your racing fixed, not really.
Well, other than the Ball family, who are some other drivers that you've kind of looked up to or admired growing up as you followed racing, living in the Knoxville area?
Yeah, I grew up watching, like Danny Lafosky, Mark Kinzer, and Sammy Swindell were a lot of probably the three guys that I really enjoyed and cheered for growing up.
It looks like you're one of the few drivers that's a college graduate, and I always find that interesting. There aren't that many World of Outlaw drivers that have even gone to college, other than I think Jason Myers was one of those. But if you look at the roster now, there isn't. And back in the day at Knoxville, it was kind of the same way. You grew up around the racetrack and you went racing. Nowadays there's guys like you and Jamie and Dylan Peterson and Davey Heskin. Talk a little bit about deciding from, obviously driving a 305 sprint car isn't going to pay the bills, because you're not racing for a lot of money anyway, and even with all the sponsorship you get, there's just no way to make money in racing. But how has college, and is there anything through college that's helped prepare you into racing?
Yeah, actually, when I worked at Musco, they offered going working full time, and then they'd help you get through college. So I definitely took advantage of that and ended up getting a business management degree from that. And it's just something I always wanted to do, and very proud of myself for doing. It's definitely helped translate through what I'm doing now, and even like I said, a business management degree background. Business, how to deal with people, that helps, help you with sponsors down the line. So it all ties together, and I'm very glad I was able to get that experience.
What other hobbies do you have outside of racing? Did you play sports in school? Who are some of your favorite sports teams?
Yeah, I did. I played football, ran track back in middle school, enjoyed golfing when I get the chance to. Watch some college football. Obviously, go for the Hawkeyes, and the Atlanta Falcons are probably my favorite NFL team. So, but between work and racing, there's a lot of time tied up there. But those are probably the few things I get to do outside of work and racing.
Looking back at the last couple of weeks at Knoxville with McKenna Hassing winning, how amazing is that to see someone that you've raced with probably a little bit at English Creek and now at Knoxville, and to see where you both are at now?
Oh, it is very neat. I think the 305 class, but the rookies have been very strong, and it's pretty neat to see that, to be a part of that. There's a lot of guys with a lot of experience and a lot more seat time than we have, but to be able to come out and do what we've been able to accomplish, and enjoying every second of it. It's not always going to be there. So, I'm enjoying it and look hopefully forward to some more success.
Racing's expensive. I'm sure you got some sponsors you would like to thank.
Yeah, our team wouldn't be able to do it. Probably our biggest sponsor is the White Lightning Motorsports fundraiser we do every year at the beginning of the year in the spring. That helps us out the most. We have Matt Jones Trucking, Timberline Tree Service, JJK Auctioneers, Kevin Housby here in Des Moines helps us out. There's so many people. I know I'm going to forget some people, but there's so many people that even just from friends and family, buying a tire here or helping out with a part here. There's just so many people that make this possible, and couldn't do it without them.
Well, Devin, thanks for coming on the show this week, and hopefully Mother Nature plays nice, and good luck to you this Saturday night.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
That's Devin Kline joining us on the Lucas Oil Hotline tonight. We'll be right back after these messages. You're listening to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line on KBOE. Thanks for listening to the Knoxville Podcast. This segment is brought to you by Pella Motors. They beat big city deals. Visit PellaMotors.com. Welcome back to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line. We'll finish up this week's show with our weekly announcements. This Saturday night at the Knoxville Raceway is Slideways Karting Center night. Also Little League night, so players and coaches get in free if you wear your jersey. Don't forget about the Casey's General Store receipt discount. Save your Casey General Store receipts of $50 or more paid for this week. That will get you 2 tickets for $20. Veterans and seniors ages 60 and up is a $3 discount. Pella Corporation, Nationwide Insurance, and Farm Bureau members, $5 discount with proof of company ID. Next Saturday night, a week from this Saturday, June 13th, the World of Outlaws MediaCom Shootout. The one time the World of Outlaws are going to be competing at the Knoxville Raceway. Should be great to see them competing against our Knoxville regulars. It's been a while since one of our Knoxville regulars has won a feature against the Outlaws, so with the stacked field of cars we have in our 410 class this year, there's a really good chance that that could happen, I think. Don't forget about the FVP National Sprint League events coming up June 27th, July 4th, and at the championship finals on August 29th on season championship night. There is still one more free kids night coming up on July 11th. Marion County Fair will come in July, starting July 10th. Concert with country music star Tyler Farr. Only 4,000 tickets available for that event, so you might want to get your tickets early before the day of the concert. July 12th, we'll have the English Creek Dirt Kart event. July 16th, the IMCA Modified Harris Clash. August 6th through the 8th, the Arnold Motor Supply 360 Nationals, presented by Great Southern Bank. Sunday, August 9th, the 4th Annual Capitani Classic for 410 Sprint Cars. Monday, August 10th, the 20th Annual Front Row Challenge at the Southern Iowa Speedway. $20,000 to the winner. That is a National Sprint League sanctioned event. Terry McCarl putting up $20,000 to win for the 20th anniversary of the Front Row Challenge. August 12th through the 15th, the FVP 55th Annual Knoxville Nationals. Tickets on sale for that. Visit KnoxvilleRaceway.com or call the ticket office at 641-842-5431 for ticket information. Coming up in September, we'll have Monster Jam, a 2-day show, and then also the 3-day show, Lucas Oil Late Model Knoxville Nationals. Don't forget about the Checkered Flag program every Tuesday night here on KBOE from 7 to 8 p.m. with Jeff Kropp. Lots of weekly discussions from the Southern Iowa Speedway with Jeff and his guests every Tuesday night. Dirt Dreams on MAV TV. The season premiere for Season 2 of Dirt Dreams was today on MAV TV. It airs every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. and again at 2:30 p.m. Central. So Dirt Dreams, lots of great action coming there thanks to Bing Bang Media and MAV TV. Follow Knoxville Raceway on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Vine, and don't forget to download our mobile app. The National Sprint Car Hall of Fame and Museum is open 7 days a week, open 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. on Saturdays during the racing season. Feel free to stop in there before the races, take a tour, lots of history to celebrate there. Knoxville Raceway wants to thank their partners, Lucas Oil, FVP, Casey's General Store, Arnold Motor Supply, RacingJunk.com, National Speed Sport News, Pella Motors, and Great Southern Bank. Thank you to our guest, Devin Kline, and thank you for listening to the Knoxville Raceway Inside Line. We'll see you at Knoxville on Saturday night. Hot laps at 6:45 p.m. Thank you, and have a good night. Thank you for listening to the Knoxville Podcast. The Knoxville Podcast is made possible by our partners Lucas Oil, FVP, Casey's General Store, Speed Sport, Arnold Motor Supply, RacingJunk.com, and Pella Motors.